Why Narratives Matter. Episode 1: The Narrative Journey. Imagine two organizations. They have the same budget, the same strategy, the same technology, the same talented people, yet one inspires trust, the other creates confusion, one attracts support, the other struggles to gain momentum. Why? The answer is rarely found in a strategic plan. More often, it is found in something less visible: a narrative. Narratives shape how we understand the world around us. They influence our decisions, our relationships, our institutions, and even our sense of identity. Whether we realize it or not, we all live inside narratives, and those narratives shape us. Welcome to the Narrative Journey. Today we begin with a simple question: why do narratives matter? Most people think narrative means storytelling, but narrative and story are not the same thing. A story tells us what happened, a narrative tells us what it means. A company launches a new product. That is a story. The belief that the company is innovative, that is a narrative. Stories provide information, narratives provide meaning, and meaning is what allows us to make sense of the world. Human beings are natural pattern seekers. We look at isolated events and instinctively connect them. We search for explanations. We search for coherence. We search for understanding. Narratives help us transform complexity into something we can grasp. They connect individual events into larger patterns. They help us answer the question that sits behind every story: what does this mean? Every day we are surrounded by information: news headlines, social media posts, emails, reports, notifications. The volume of information available to us is greater than at any point in human history. Yet information alone does not create understanding. Information must be interpreted before it becomes meaningful, and meaning is what helps us navigate complexity. Without meaning, information becomes noise. With meaning, information becomes understanding. This is one of the most important functions of narrative. Narrative transforms information into meaning. This pattern seeking behavior is deeply human. We connect events, we identify relationships, we look for causes and consequences, we search for coherence. A collection of disconnected facts tells us very little. But when those facts form a pattern, they begin to tell a story. And when that story acquires meaning, it becomes a narrative. Narratives help us organize reality. They help us make sense of uncertainty, and they help us decide what matters. For thousands of years, human beings have relied on narratives to understand the world. Long before books, people shared narratives through stories, symbols, and oral traditions. Later, narratives traveled through books, then newspapers, then the internet, and now increasingly through artificial intelligence. The technology changes, the human need for meaning does not. Narratives do not exist only in our personal lives, they exist inside organizations as well. Every organization tells itself a story. Sometimes that story is written down. More often, it exists in conversations, assumptions, and shared beliefs. The narrative of an organization influences how people understand their work. It shapes priorities, guides decisions, and helps people understand not only what they are doing, but why they are doing it. When an organization's narrative is clear, people move in the same direction. When its narrative becomes fragmented, confusion begins to emerge. Leadership sees one future, operations sees another, marketing communicates something different altogether. The result is often described as a communication problem, but communication is rarely the root cause. More often, the problem is narrative. The organization no longer shares a common understanding of itself, and when meaning becomes fragmented, alignment becomes difficult. The same principle operates far beyond organizations. Narratives shape communities, institutions, movements, markets, and nations. Throughout history, societies have organized themselves around narratives: narratives about freedom, narratives about justice, narratives about security, narratives about progress, narratives about opportunity. These narratives help people make sense of complex realities. They provide a framework through which events are interpreted. They shape expectations, influence decisions, and affect the choices people make every day. The most powerful narratives are often invisible, not because they are hidden, but because they become familiar. They begin to feel like common sense. And when something feels like common sense, we rarely stop to examine it. Yet those narratives continue to influence us whether we notice them or not. This channel exists to explore these questions. How is trust built? How does meaning emerge? How do narratives shape organizations? How do systems influence behavior? Why do some narratives endure while others disappear? What happens when narratives drift? And how do emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, change the way narratives are created, shared, and understood? These are not simple questions, but they are important ones because understanding narratives helps us understand ourselves. It helps us understand the organizations we belong to. It helps us understand the societies we live in. And perhaps most importantly, it helps us become more aware of the stories that shape our decisions. This channel is not about telling you what to think. It is about helping us think more carefully about the narratives that influence how we think. Every journey begins with a question. This one ends with one. What stories are shaping your understanding of the world? Thank you for joining me on this first step of the narrative journey. I'm Valerie Bronson, and I'll see you in the next episode. Because next time we'll explore a phenomenon that affects organizations, institutions, and even individuals: narrative drift, how organizations lose their way, and why it happens more often than we think.